You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis.
What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you?
It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, isn't it?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. Thursday, December 11th. Thank you guys for joining us. We are officially 2 weeks from Christmas, which is exciting. I love Christmas. When you have 4 kids, it's a little stressful, if that's a thing. So I don't think we're ready for Christmas by any stretch of the imagination, but ready or not, it's about 2 weeks away. So hopefully everybody getting all that Christmas shopping done and everything they need to do. Thank you for joining us. If you're watching us live on YouTube, we appreciate that. If you have subscribed, thank you. If you have not subscribed, please do so ASAP because we're continuing to grow the show. We're loving what we're doing each and every day, each and every weekday right here in the Quad Cities. Also, chat with us online, the chat going for YouTube. So give us your feedback, questions, all those kind of things. We appreciate that as well. We are live on X. X has been very, very good to us. So if you're watching us on X, thank you for that. Same thing. Let us know your thoughts, concerns, complaints, all those kind of things. We're used to that as well. You can also listen to us on all the podcasting platforms as well. So wherever you get your podcasts, just put in Off the Air with Matt Randazzzo and you will see us pop up, whether it's Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out, and you can listen to Off the Air with Matt Randazzzo. And also, we want to welcome our viewers from Central Iowa. The show is on every single evening at 7 p.m. on the WHO streaming app. So welcome today. We have a great show to get to today. If you missed some of the shows this week, get back, watch them. Gary Dolphin was with us on Monday. That was extremely fun. We enjoyed that. Just yesterday alone, we had Jake Brend, Kyle Huseman, Gavin Stecker, who's headed to the University of Iowa as well to play football. So we've had a fun week, and we're just getting warmed up. Another jam-packed show to get with you guys today. Also on Tuesday, Nicholas Bear was on the show as well. Great insight from Nicholas Bear about everything going on with the Cyhawk game tonight. That is the talk of the state of Iowa, and we'll talk a lot about that throughout today's show as well. Coming up on today's show, in a matter of moments, we will speak with the one and only Scott Dochterman, one of my favorite people, one of the best beat writers in the business, and not just a beat writer because he's nationally with The Athletic right now. I don't know if there's anybody, and I mean this, that knows more about college football than Scott Dochterman, and it's been a crazy college football year, and never more so than the last couple weeks was what's going on at Iowa State, the college football playoffs, and now a bunch of craziness with Michigan that we'll talk about here in just a second as well. So we will chat with Scott Dochterman coming up in just a little bit, in a matter of moments. Also coming up on today's show, we usually do it on Wednesdays, but we had to rearrange a few things this week. So our weekly Ness Guess segment from Hungry Hobo in Rock Island is coming your way with the great Marc Nesseler. It's a fun pick'em contest that's been going on in the Quad Cities it took place for 37 years. The last 6 or 7, it was not there. We brought it back here for OTA. So we'll talk Ness Guess. We'll get your weekly winners, get you set for next week. And then also, I want to talk with Marc Nesseler, and we did so about the great legacy left behind by Jim Albracht. Marc Nesseler, somebody who worked with Jim Albracht in the media here in the Quad Cities for decades. So that was special to talk with him about that. So that's coming up as well. And then last night was the Iowa State women's game. The voice of the Hawkeyes for the women's basketball program, Rob Brooks, will join us around 11:10. So coming up in hour number 2 of the show. So a ton to get to today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We do appreciate that. As we mentioned, it is Cyhawk week. Last night was the women, and it was a good game at the Hilton Coliseum. Close game, tied at halftime. Iowa State played really well and got out to a 17-point lead late in the third quarter, and Iowa came storming back. I think they got within 3, couldn't quite get over the hump. Audie Crooks. She was really, really good, as everyone would expect. 13 of 20 from the field. She had 30 points. I believe she had 10 rebounds as well. So 36 minutes of play. She was awesome. Iowa State gets the victory, an emotional victory for her, for Bill Fenley. As we kind of talked about yesterday, this game is a big game nationally, and I don't think there was a loser in the game when it came to what women's basketball is. And Iowa played well, and they came back from a 17-point deficit, nearly got over the hump. We'll talk more about that with Rob Brooks coming up in hour number 2 of the show. And then, of course, there's a bunch of craziness going on in college football once again. There's a opening at Michigan when it comes to the college football because Sharon Moore has been let go, fired with cause, because of an affair that he was having with a staffer, and it's been getting crazy. And there's reports of he's been arrested now. There's reports of going to different places and threats and all these kind of things. Don't want to talk a lot about the details of those because nothing is official of yet. But what we do know is Michigan has a football head coaching vacancy, and it's just been a crazy 24 hours in Ann Arbor. So I think that's a great place to begin, and not the reason why I wanted to have him on, but gosh, that's where we got to start, because he's one of the best in the business when it comes to college football, because I'll intro it live.
Okay. And
about the college football drama these days is the one and only Scott Dochterman. First and foremost, Doc, thank you for doing this. I know it's a wild, crazy, busy time of year, and for you to take the time for my goofy self, I do appreciate it as always.
I love being on with you, Matt. If you're anybody else, I'd probably decline. But I like your Lions zippy there
you go.
hoodie, and so I'm always happy to talk with you.
That's the thing, Doc. Is like back in the day, my old job, I had to put on suits and ties. And it's snowy outside. It's starting to snow again today. And I'm like, I'm just going to put on my comfy zippy, turn my little heater on, and talk about some sports. So much. And it's funny because college football, it's like big story after big story after big story. I know you've been busy probably the last couple, maybe 24 hours with what the heck's going on at Michigan. Just your thoughts on that job now being opened, and in a season where it's been big job after big job after big job opened up in college football.
Yeah, I think this is the biggest one of them all, but it's also the worst situation involved. I mean, not a lot of details have officially emerged. Obviously, we've heard a lot of other things, and Sharon Moore was fired with cause for having an improper relationship with a staff member. It was investigated multiple times, and it came to fruition, or at least they had enough information to make a move there. And for Michigan, there's part of them that probably thinks, man, we missed out on some of these coaches. But then you're also Michigan, meaning that there are people who wouldn't have necessarily have moved for any of the other jobs that would be considered, here, and would consider leaving for Michigan. So this is the big fish in the big pond type of job here. So I would expect them right now that they're probably starting the process pretty in earnest to try to find the next coach at the University of Michigan. But I also think that they have a chance. They could be a little bit patient, as opposed to the other coaches that wanted to get everything, or the other places wanted to get signing day, get everything lined up. I think Michigan could be okay for in the short term, for the next week or two, meaning short term, before they make a final call.
You look at it, and signing day was just last week, and maybe Michigan probably knew maybe something might be going down with the investigations. I've had a lot of people ask me, these kids, I mean, that's not fair to have them maybe go through signing day and then have this happen. But in today's day of college football, you just stopped out. Do you not? Like, well, how does that sit with the players there? And obviously they had a really good recruiting class coming in.
That's always the tough part about these athletes moving on, and the coaches and what have you is you experienced it in this state last week with Matt Campbell just a couple of days ago. I mean, he signed a week, all these 26 players a week ago. Then he's leaving for Penn State right afterwards, and there are options now, which is 7, 8, 10 years ago and beyond, there weren't any. If you signed, it was like you signed your life away, and you're an indentured servant to some extent. And now they have the opportunity to re-enter. They could enter the portal, which is what they do, or rescind the signing day. Schools generally do that because otherwise they enter the portal. It works both ways. It's just unfortunate, because I think of, now my kids now have graduated college, and I know yours are probably on their way there. And it's just, when you make that decision as a family and as people, and it's to the coach when it's for football, but you also go there on visits and you see the atmosphere and you meet other people, you meet people on campus and you meet the people in your class and you're excited. I mean, like any student would be, this time of year, there are a lot of wonderful young people making decisions about their lives, whether they're going to go to the University of Iowa or they're going to go to St. Ambrose or Augustana or go down to Illinois or all over this great area that we live in. And they're excited about their future. And then to just have it all unravel like that, even if it's just football. Some of these young men were going to enroll in 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And now they've got to make this life-altering decision. So I think it is unfair. The one thing that gives you a little bit more, it's not quite as bad again as it used to be, is they can have the option to leave. They're not signed away to this. And the other thing is, they are compensated. So generally you feel less bad for people who get paid as opposed to those who don't.
You mentioned a few, and we'll move on to Iowa State and other stuff, all that kind of stuff in a second. But Kalen DeBoer, you mentioned where does this thing go? And obviously you don't have any concrete information, so it's us speculating. But if you were Michigan, if you were the athletic director at Michigan, which I think you should be, you're an athletic director type of person. Where would you start? Where would you start this search at if you were Michigan?
I'd love to play the fantasy football of it, but I don't know that I want to be the GM part of college athletics with handling the NIL and all that stuff, the finances. But I'll say this, that you go big game hunting, because you're Michigan. And if Kalen DeBoer, who's from South Dakota, and a fun fact is 2 of my very best friends that I graduated high school with played with him at Sioux Falls. One was his backup quarterback. He lives in Minneapolis, and another one now owns his own. He was a Golden Gloves boxer. He was my college roommate. And again, 2 of my very best friends played college football with him. So, but he's from South Dakota, so he's more of a Midwestern guy. And I think you knock on that door and you ask him, are you happy at Alabama? I mean, because Michigan and Alabama are in the same pool, and it would be a lateral move. And so therefore you just kind of, you look at it and go, well, if he's interested, take that step. But if he's not, then you start to look around but you want to get the best fit. You want to get what works at Michigan. They made a massive mistake close to 20 years ago when they got a really good coach, but one that didn't fit. And that's Rich Rodriguez. When Lloyd Carr retired, they decided to go with Rich Rodriguez, and he tried to implement a style. It was exciting with Denard Robinson, but it wasn't successful. They were terrible on the field, and it took them 10 years to dig out of that. And so you want to get a coach that thinks like the way you think, that can implement a system that you can implement, and also just kind of cultivate that culture. And I think if that's one thing Michigan needs right now, it's to change, kind of get the sordid recent past out of itself and move forward, because it's kind of an embarrassment right now.
Yeah, and as good as Jim Harbaugh was at winning games, I saw something on social media, like 7 of his assistant coaches have some type of drama or problems with the law, those kind of things. So yeah, maybe some normalcy would be a good thing in Ann Arbor as well. Scott Dochterman joining me right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzzo. Doc, let's get to the things I kind of want to talk to you about before the craziness happened last night. Iowa State happens, and I don't know, it got to a point where maybe Matt Campbell started feeling like maybe this is Kirk Ferentz and he's going to be there for the long haul and all those kind of things. Why Penn State? What was it about that job that made things different for Matt Campbell?
It has to be the opportunity to compete and possibly win national championships, because he had a good thing going at Iowa State. I don't think anybody would disagree that he was easily the best football coach Iowa State ever had. And maybe you could make the case that he's the best coach they ever had in any sport. He changed everything about Iowa State. And he did it in a way, he was really similar to Kirk, had a strong culture, a foundation. And I think one of the things that he did that I thought was really good is he kind of removed a lot of the excuse making, that Iowa State tended to have before him, whether it's the officials are against us, the Big 12's against us, life's against us. And instead we're not going to make excuses here. We're just going to go ahead and go forward with what we have and work hard and build it the right way. And he did. And but at Iowa State, you do have a lower ceiling than most programs. And he did an outstanding job to go 11-2 2 years ago. Even this year, they had a ton of injuries. They were 8-4 with the potential to move up if those injuries didn't happen. But I also think, there's that look in the mirror. Can I win a national title at Iowa State University? And the answer is no. You can get to the playoff. You can maybe win a playoff game. That'll be the greatest year you ever had. But when you start to run that gauntlet of, okay, you're in the quarterfinals and you're playing Alabama, and then you're playing Ohio State, and then you're playing Georgia or somebody like that, it is really tough. And then you look at the Big 12's landscape, the financial aspect of it, which they are getting, right around $35 million from their conference, whereas Iowa's getting $85 million from its conference. That is so sizable, and it's only going to go up as far as paying players goes. You're limited. So with Penn State, however, we saw it last year. They were tied with Notre Dame 24-24 in the final minute of a national semifinal. They have the talent to win it. I mean, they were projected to win the national title this year by a lot of people. And they lost a ton of close games. I think we look at the overall record and go 6-6. Yuck. 5 of those games are by one score. I mean, look at the Iowa game, for instance. It was a one point loss for them. And that's where big game James came into play, which is he was 1-16 against top 5 competition. Matt Campbell's had an outstanding run of beating top 5 teams and good teams with regularity. And Penn State, he's a Rust Belt guy. He's from Ohio, and he's Northeast Ohio guy, and so that automatically puts him in a category with the Pennsylvanians that he's kind of one of us. He's from our area, and he's got a different style, as we know, and that really works well. A gritty, tough guy who played offensive line in college, and it's going to take him a little bit of time. I think they're a bowl team probably next year, no matter what happens. But they only signed 2 guys last week, and so he's got a lot of work to do there. I don't know. They're going to in the portal for sure. I don't know what's going to happen as far as some Iowa State guys. If they enter, I know a lot will enter the portal. Whether they follow them or not, that's up to Matt and his staff to determine. But I think Matt probably looking at the next 5 to 10 years. See, you look at Penn State. Can they win a national title? And the answer is yes. They have the resources. They have the ability to recruit nationally. They have all the advantages of everybody else. They just haven't reached their potential. And James Franklin did an outstanding job. He's a great recruiter, a good coach, but in big moments they didn't pass the test. And Matt Campbell's got that opportunity, and he has done that over and over and over again in Ames.
Doc, it was weird because so many places, and I know Mississippi and LSU was a soap opera of its own, but like so many places, like if a guy leaves, I mean, what social media is like. It's usually hateful when something crazy doesn't happen, more or less when that happens. And it was different in in Ames, I should say, in Iowa State.
Yeah.
There was so much emotion with it, and not anger. It was more, you saw Matt Campbell get emotional. You saw Jamie Pollard get emotional. You saw fans, some media members. I mean, everyone it seemed like it was more gracious or grateful that he was there than it was, how dare you leave our school? Were you surprised by that? And I think it kind of shows what Matt Campbell meant to that community and what he did for that community, if that makes any sense. Your thoughts on maybe the reaction of a coach leaving and the craziness that happened over the last 24 hours, or I should say about a week.
Yeah, that was it was good to see that, because he was there were some outbursts, but they really were limited. And I think part of it was the surprise, that they felt like it was a surprise and there was just signing day and then you're going through this. But I think once he had his news conference, especially, and, he broke down, I wrote about it. I watched it, and I broke down for a while when he was talking about Iowa State. And then he bought, ads in the Des Moines Register to thank the fans. It shows that it was a special place for him, 10 years of his life. And, when you take that step back, you can think about it in football terms, but when you live somewhere for 10 years and you like it and your family feels a part of that community and one of your children is born there, that you really feel like that's something that, you hold dear. And it was kind of a love affair. And I think everybody knew in the back of their mind that this was possible. I mean, again, Iowa State fans, when it comes to their programs, are very passionate, but they're also self-aware. They understand kind of where they are in the pecking order. And for Matt to be there 10 years and not 5 shows that he was very committed to it. And to see how it transpired, he didn't just take the first job when they had a couple of good years, or when they went to the Fiesta Bowl and won it and they finished in the top 10. He stayed. And then he built it again. And even when it kind of fell apart, he built it again. And so that kind of endeared him to them. And he did it in a way that you could respect. And I've heard this now more from Iowa fans too, that there's a real respect for him in how he did it. Because I think he reminds me a lot of Kirk in a lot of the ways he does things. And so the love affair, I would agree with. It's kind of like, if you're in a smaller town and somebody, just was like a president of something, a bank or whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, this big firm in Chicago or New York or, even Des Moines, called, and you're going to get a lot more money and a lot more prestige. And it's hard to turn that down. And this is kind of the same way. I mean, you are going from a program that you built from zero to good, to now the potential to win championships. And I think that's something that they'll hold dear. He certainly will. And if they ever hoist the crystal football at the national championship in a couple of years, in his kind of wrap up speech, he's going to probably thank the people of Iowa State for helping him get there. And I think they're going to feel part of it, part of that journey. And that's special.
That's a great point. Doc, last one for Iowa State. They quickly, that's as fast as we're talking about Michigan, and they have a little bit of time. They quickly pivoted, and obviously they've been talking about this show, and every good athletic director has that short list of who they're interested in. Were you surprised they went as quickly as they did? And your thoughts on Jimmy Rogers and how he did on his introductory press conference? Those are always very important. I joked the other day, I sat through, Ben McCollum's and Fran McCaffrey's at Iowa, and I was like excited. I sat through Todd Licklider's and I was like, wait a minute, like that's kind of boring. So first off, your thoughts on the quickness of the hire, and then how did he do on Monday in your eyes? And did he check boxes that he needed to check at Iowa State?
I guess on the hire first, the joke was it took 54 days for Penn State to hire Matt Campbell. It took 54 seconds for Jamie Pollard to hire Jimmy Rogers, and that's kind of the way it felt. It was like faster almost than Iowa hiring Jan Jensen to follow Lisa Bluter, and I was like, boom, boom, and I think that's the same thing here. That Jamie is he's been given that leeway, and some schools aren't that way. Iowa, up until Beth Getz, was let's do this by committee and let's sit around and hash this out and take so long that you lose good candidates. That Iowa State has given Jamie Pollard the keys. Go do what you got to do. And Matt, one of the things about this process that I think was handled by adults is earlier in the week last week when Matt had that opportunity to go, or at least talk to Penn State, and he basically cut Jamie off and said, look, this isn't about money and packages, this is about me and what I want to do. So he wasn't going to put Iowa State in this hostage part of, boost money here and there. But also Jamie was direct with him. He's like, look, I understand you have to investigate this and go through this, but I got to run a parallel process because he works for Iowa State. He's got to keep Iowa State in a good mind. And his past relationship with Jimmy Rogers, I think, is really important. That they met at Thayer Evans's agent is like a little gathering in Texas, and he got to know him and really bouncing off ideas. And Jimmy Rogers asked him, okay, and this is when he was South Dakota State's coach, what would it take for me to be the head coach of Iowa State? And he said, well, probably one more stop. You're going to need to go up another level to reach Iowa State. And so he did. He went to Washington State, and that is still a very depleted program from the mess that was the Pac-12 imploding. And they lost like John Mateer, who is their quarterback. He went to Oklahoma, and just people all over the place. Bowl eligibility. He's going to have an equally difficult and challenging time at Iowa State because there are a lot of players entering the portal. There are going to be a lot of people who signed that are going to be, let out of their letters of intent, and he's going to have to try to figure out what do I do here to put them on the right track. But I think, we put so much emphasis, especially as a media, on winning the press conference. Like, how exciting was it? How did you feel? And really, it's more about, okay, that's kind of like a shot of adrenaline. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm ready. And then you move on. I thought he did a nice job. I won't say that he was like, rah, I feel like I'm ready to run through walls for Iowa State. But I also feel like that's not the point here. He needs to be, handle himself in a direct way. And he's got, a pretty strong demeanor, I would say. And now tonight for the Iowa State game, he's going to get introduced in one of the timeouts, and it's going to be rocking. And I wouldn't be surprised if you start, seeing a little bit different side of him come out. Maybe not Curt Cignetti talking about Purdue sucks and so does Michigan and Ohio State, but I think you might see some, red meat. He's got some red meat that he can toss out there that'll really endear him. And I think that'll probably be more important than anything he said in the press conference.
Scott Dochterman joining us right now from The Athletic. I know you're busy. I don't want to keep you too much longer. Two more things I want to hit on. Let's go to Iowa first. They're heading to Tampa. I think it's an intriguing matchup with a program that, if you would have told me 3-4 years ago, maybe even last year, hey, Vanderbilt. It was funny because of my schools here in the Quad Cities, Illinois is playing Tennessee and I was playing Vandy. If you had told me 5 years ago, I would have said, oh, wow, like Illinois had the better season, but it's actually, this is not the Vanderbilt of old. Your thoughts on the matchup? I think it's one of the better non-playoff matchups when it comes to bowl games. Your thoughts on the draw that Iowa got going back to Tampa and taking on Vanderbilt?
I did a ranking of the top 10 non-playoff bowl games, and this was number 1 for me. And, and I sat there. At first I had it at 2 because I'm like, well, I don't want everybody to accuse me of being an Iowa homer here on this. But then I'm like, you know what? It is. Let's just cut to the chase. Vanderbilt, when we look at the magic, and I call it, loaves and fishes magic that Curt Cignetti has had at Indiana. I mean, that's a miracle. Well, this one's right up there. This isn't Lazarus coming out of the grave, but this is water into wine or something like that. So anyway, I think 10-2 is a record. They've never won 10 games before. Yeah. They've never won 6 in the SEC before. They have a finalist for the Heisman who's probably going to end up in the top 2 in voting, in Diego Pavia. And he's a guy that if he was on your team, you'd love him, and if he's on the other team, you're going to hate his guts. And that's speaks well to him. It reminds me of players that fit in that category. For Iowa, probably Jordan Bohannon was that way. In going way back to the NBA, John Starks was that way somewhat. But
I remember Jacob Jakes. That was a guy that was always like, man, I love that he's a Hawkeye, but if he wasn't a Hawkeye, man, I'd hate that guy. So go ahead. Yeah. I'm sorry. I always had a few. Yeah,
exactly. But he's, entertaining guy, 3,200 yards passing, 900 or so rushing, a ton of touchdowns, and very exciting team and player. They have the best tight end in the country in Eli Stowers. And then their coach, Clark Lee, who was at Notre Dame before he went to Vanderbilt, is outstanding. And he's one that if I was Michigan, I'd consider calling to see what he might be up to if that opportunity is there. But it's a well-rounded team too. It's not just that they're great, at quarterback and they're flashy and stuff. They are as good of a team there is. But you know what? Iowa's a pretty freaking good team too. And Iowa's 8-4, and as we know, and we've went over, is that there were a couple of plays from having a much better year than what it turned out to be. But that doesn't take away the fact that they're not a good team. They are outstanding. They have the best offensive line in the country. That it's together, it clicks, it's physical, it's and you kind of start to wonder, all right, maybe a couple weeks away helps the health of this team, because they were pretty banged up playing that grueling schedule. And so I think this is the best matchup. And 8-4 Iowa, 10-2 Vanderbilt. It's a curtain raiser to the semifinals that day. And I look at it as, an opportunity for Iowa to kind of put a statement on the season, because you're playing a team that's ranked, 14th? And if you win, you get that ranking, jinx off of you. The streak of 0-13 against ranked teams. It's a good team. Don't let anybody fool you. People who are ignorant or don't know will say, "Oh, it's just Vanderbilt." No, this is Vanderbilt that was 10-2 and blew out Tennessee and won some big games. So I like this matchup. I think it's going to be a coin flip game. So I think Vanderbilt, I've seen open as a 4-point favorite or something like that, and it probably is correct on that. But I think this is this is where Ferentz comes in, and you're going to start to see maybe their first series goes really well for Vanderbilt on the offense, and then you'll see it tighten up and turn into Rocky Ball, 15 rounds.
No, it should be fascinating. 2 more questions for you. Let's stay at Iowa. Hey, Kirk Ferentz is coming back. I don't think it's a huge surprise to anybody. It was a question that had to be asked at the press conference, and I talked to Gary Dolphin earlier this week, and he's like, health permitting, I don't see him stopping anytime soon. Your thoughts on that guy? And I know he's back next year, but I don't see him. I don't see him thinking like this is his last year next year. I think health-wise, if he stays the way he is, he's going to coach a few more years. Your thoughts?
I agree. I mean, what if you take the age out of the equation? Why should he step down? I mean, there's no reason to. This is a healthier program today than it was 5, 6, 7 years ago, than 12 years ago. I mean, he has got it rolling. I mean, since 2015. They rank 11th in Power 4 victories. They're one behind LSU. And you got to remember during the COVID year that 2 games were canceled and they would have won both those games easily. I mean, they are in a place where you look at them and go, okay, this team can compete for the higher levels of the Big Ten. And, if they need to improve their passing game, well, I think they've improved a lot on offense since Tim Lester has taken over. Their recruiting, this is the second highest recruiting class in 20 years. You look at each of the players that they picked up that way, and you're going, okay, they're good. Yeah, they're losing some players, but then they've got some development there. In this day and age where there are no constants in college football, Iowa is the constant. And when you look at, okay, well, how did you do against your rivals? Iowa State was a really good team at that point who had already played a really tough opponent before Iowa. They played Kansas State over in Ireland. And so I think, they were a little more seasoned and it was a miraculous catch. But then the other 3, I mean, you outscore them 118-19. So there's no let up. There's no reason for Kirk to step down except over whether or not he wants to retire or not. He certainly doesn't want to do that. So he's got the structure in place. And in today's world, as we were talking about with Michigan or Penn State and the uncertainty at Wisconsin, and I don't know what Nebraska is doing and all these other places, Iowa State, why not stay put? You've got it rolling. This offense is improving. This defense remains sound and strong. You've got a good recruiting class. And as everybody else changes, you remain the same, and your system works. Development, retain. They're going to have. They may have a record for draft picks this year. They could have as many as 8. So I think this is a no-brainer. Now, he's also in his 70s, and at some point, things change, and he knows that. And he told me that in the summer. I asked him about it, and he's like, I feel the same way I did 10 years ago. But I also don't know what it's like to feel like I'm 71 or 72 because sometimes things just, So we'll have to watch that. But, and one last point on this is the age thing that people use against him now is evaporated. As much as things change and as players can leave, it's not about, hey, will he be there throughout your whole tenure? That doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. Who's going to be at anywhere's tenure? I mean,
no, you're right.
So if he retires next year, well, that's the same as, hey, I'm leaving Iowa State to go to Penn State, or hey, my coach got fired from an improper relationship with a staffer, or I mean, PJ Fleck's the longest tenured guy next to Kirk, and
yeah.
So it's to me, I think he's in a good shape.
Doc, yesterday, Gavin Stecker from Bettendorf committed 2 days ago, but he was on the show yesterday, and he talked about stability. I mean, here's a 17-year-old that was like stability in the program, and like you just said, people leave for different reasons, but God willing, that guy's going to be there until he wants to be there. And I think that's something college football doesn't have too many places. Last one for you. It's a tough one, so I don't want to look huge big picture, but how did the college football playoffs do? Did they – I mean, I guess just when it goes to maybe the Michigan and not Michigan, excuse me, but the Notre Dame, Alabama, Miami drama, your thoughts on that whole thing and how did they do?
I think they did the best possible job they could, and I'm not going to toe the company line because certainly nobody in my place has. But I look at that they were given kind of an impossible situation, but they also were so inconsistent that it makes a lot of questions come up. I mean, when you're given a system that requires the five highest ranked champions, and the ACC's champion can't get ranked because it's 8 and 5, then you're leaving yourself open to having teams that really don't deserve to be there. And I'm not speaking necessarily about Tulane because the American Conference is kind of in that ballpark to some extent, but I'm thinking like James Madison. And when you're getting into there, that limits the opportunity to have better teams in the tournament. And now their choices going into that final weekend of two spots for 3 teams. You had Alabama, which I thought was, and I think it was proven, was the weakest of the 3. But are you really going to move out the SEC champion that's already in? If the playoffs started today, they're in, but they lose and they drop a couple of spots, that'll blow up conference championship football.
Yeah,
because why would anybody? If you're Alabama, it's like, well, I'm not playing in that thing if I lose and I'm out, and when I could be in the playoff, because the playoff is now the most important thing to get to. So that's untenable. Notre Dame, which I think was the best of the teams, and I think is one of the 5 or 6 teams that actually could win it, but they didn't play anybody. They don't play in a conference. They didn't get tested like other schools did. So, and they never really moved up. And then finally, Miami is a team that beat Notre Dame head to head, but they also started Miami 18th in the first ranking and Notre Dame 10th. And then they moved up, and then finally passed them at the end because their head to head actually mattered. And if they wouldn't have done that, they would have angered the ACC, which 2 years ago had its undefeated champion left out of the 14 playoff. So it was an unwinnable position. I think based on the information that they had, when you're looking at what they were facing, I think they made the right call that way. My own eye test tells me that Alabama was the weakest of the 3 and should have been left out. But that being said, that's not the parameters that you're given. So there's going to be, last year it was all about the 4 buys were given to 4 conference champions, and then all of them lost. This time it's about all of the, it's like, okay, should all of these champions get in? Should they have like a cutoff? Maybe they should be top 15 or something like that. And that's fair to discuss, but then they've got a new system that they want to implement, and everybody wants to go 16 teams, but they want different ways of doing it, and they've got a little over a month to figure that out. So stay tuned. As we know, as the college football world turns, it's going to be something crazy could happen tomorrow that we're not expecting.
Doc, tell people how you can check out your work, The Athletic. I know the podcast with Chad is outstanding. I listen to it, watch it all the time. How do they find out more Scott Dochterman information, whether you agree with him or disagree with him? How do you find out what Doc thinks?
Yeah, I think my being a little bit tired, it led me to a strong rant the other day that I probably should have curtailed a little bit on my podcast. But I did. You can follow me at Scott Dochterman on Twitter, and I'm on Threads, but not that strong. I just kind of view things there. And then also at theathletic.com. You can sign up. I'm pretty sure we have some deals right now, and read about this and everybody else, in college football and the Bears as they push towards the playoffs, or Matt's Lions. And I suppose if you want to read about the Packers, we have a good Packers reporter. I stay away from them, but
as you should.
And Hot Stove.
No, I love it. I love it. Doc, I appreciate you. I appreciate the time. I know you're super busy. If I don't see you before the holidays, have a great Christmas, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully things wind down a little bit. You start thinking about it. If Michigan takes Alabama's coach, then everybody's got to talk about who's going to go to Alabama. And it's almost like it's a domino of the craziness of college football. But you're doing a great job as always. Appreciate you. And I'll talk to you again real soon.
All right. Thanks for having me, Matt.
All right. That is Scott Dochterman here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzzo. College football is crazy. I kind of joked with him. I was talking with Pat Anger yesterday, and he's like, I think he tweeted it. I think Pat did. Like, when is the 30 for 30 on this college football season going to come out? Because it gets weirder and stranger as we go on. And now the newest one is Michigan. So, Doc, great insight on that. Iowa State, everything else. We got more to get to. Going from one legend to another. Marc Nesseler is here with us next. We got our Ness Guess contest. We'll talk NFL. Also, we'll talk to him about the legacy that Jim Albracht leaves behind. Of course, Jim Albracht passing away a few days ago, a legend here in the Quad Cities. So all that. Rob Brooks coming up as well. So much more to get to right here on OTA on a Thursday. We'll be right back. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. We had to make you wait a little bit, but we have our Ness Guess segment. We're joined now by the legendary Marc Nesseler.
Week
First
15.
and foremost, Week 15.
Yeah.
First and foremost, we want to thank Hungry Hobo. They're a great sponsor of Off the Air with Matt Randazzzo. But
cheers.
Specifically of the Ness Guess contest, everyone's loving it. So if you're wondering what Ness Guess is, it's a great pick'em contest from back in the day. It's simple, no point spreads, nothing like that.
Right.
Just go
pick winners.
make your picks. The winner gets great food from Hungry Hobo.
Yep.
We got a winner coming up in just a second, but I want to start with, and I mentioned every time you come on, the legend Marc Nesseler. We lost another legend this week.
Yes.
Jim Albracht passed away unexpectedly at the age of 74. Ness, I knew you knew him very well.
Yeah.
Your thoughts when you hear the news and just Jim Albracht in general.
I mean, just the fact is, to me, 74 is not old.
No.
I mean, I'm 70, so I'm thinking, okay, that's a slap in the face.
Yeah.
But, Jim, and everybody has said it, always a smile on his face, always a good word to say. But what I remember most is he was so witty. I always thought he would say something on the air or something to the Steelers game, and I would always think, man, I wish I'd have used that.
Yes.
I mean, I'm going to steal that.
Yes.
That's a great line.
Yep.
I mean, he was just so off the cuff, and it just came to him naturally.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what made him so great is and his personality. I feel bad for his family. But yeah, too young, just too young,
and in such great shape. I talked to him in August, and I think he just got done working out, and he was living he said, he goes, some people retire. I played it yesterday, but some people retire and they don't want to because they're scared to.
Yeah, I watched that clip.
I watched that clip. He said there's no walkers at the beach, so you might as well get to the beach, and that's the way he lived his life. And I think the beauty part is, if there's a beauty part of it, is that he lived his life to its fullest.
And that's the key. That's the key. Make memories,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Any specific Jim Albracht story? I'm putting you on the spot if you don't. I mean, you guys worked. I mean, because you guys probably started around the same time in this market.
Yeah. I mean, we were at all the games together.
Yeah.
Steam Wheelers was huge.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure there are some there and memories about the championships that they had, and I always loved his calls, and that was great.
I just remember the Albracht in the AM. Going to school, my dad would turn on the radio and it'd be Albracht in the AM, and we'd listen to that. And I remember getting into with all of you guys. I get into the business and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Marc Nesseler. I would never have thought all these years later I'd be hanging out at Hungry Hobo. But and then same thing with Jim Albracht, and you see these larger than life people, and
you mentioned a lot of them on your off the air. I mean, Tom Cornelis, Don Sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, Murray Hurt, Nolan Hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, legends. I saw Gordy Nelson on Sunday.
Really?
First Lutheran and Moline had their 175th anniversary service.
Okay.
And I just heard his voice, and I said, man, that sounds like... And I turned around, and it's Gordy Nelson.
No
I haven't
way.
seen him. And so he leaves me. He says, yeah, we'll see you next 40 years from now. Because we probably have... It's probably been 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking that he was the sports editor before Jim Meenan, before me.
Yep.
Before me and before Jim Meenan. So that was 1995, which is 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I haven't seen him in 30 years.
Which is crazy. That's 30 years ago. 1995 should have been 30 years ago.
Seems like yesterday.
The thing I'll say about Jim too is he was so versatile. He could. I mean, obviously TV, did radio, did play-by-play, did MediaCom stuff with us. He was. I joked. The reason I had him on the show was because I was doing the Iowa pregame, and he was Iowa. That's who. He built that whole thing.
Right.
It was just hey, let's do this and give it a shot. And just the reactions you get, talking to you, John Marks. I gave Gary Dolphin a call when I found out and let him know, and you can just tell that he affects people not just on the air but off. So we're going to continue to celebrate him throughout the next couple days and weeks and kind of celebrate. And that's the beauty thing is because no mourning. He doesn't want anybody. I guarantee you, he'd be like, "Don't mourn. Just celebrate him."
My sister went the same way. Airport at 59. She was almost 60, and she always said, "I don't want to turn. I'm afraid of turning 60," and she never did.
Unbelievable.
And that was 2018. 7 years ago. So nobody knows their expiration date. So. Same with me. I got 1 year left of teaching, and I'm like Albracht said, I'm afraid of retiring because I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, you have nothing to worry about.
I do.
I have a feeling it's going to be off there with Marc Nesseler and Matt Randazzzo. I put your name first. Don't worry, I put your name first. I didn't want to disrespect you. So
thank you.
I'll be like, my wife's going to be like, Ness is here again. All right, come on up. Let's do the show.
Yeah.
So we R.I.P. Jim Albracht.
Yes.
And the awkward transition from talking about the loss of a legend to talking about a pick'em contest, which kind of puts things in perspective.
Yeah, there you go.
But it was a fun week once again. Thank you for getting in. If you did, if you didn't, shame on you. Get in, get involved. We have a winner that he won back in the day. He was the first person who told me I won Ness Guess. I wish I knew how old. I'll get a text message when he watches this, and he'll tell me.
He was young.
Yes.
He was a kid.
This week's winner is the one and only
Brian Stocking. And he went 13-4. There was no 12-5.
Yeah.
There were only 3 11-6s.
Okay.
And one of them was his mom. Karen as a mom. So his mom, I want to know if they worked together. But Blake Tilburg and Doug Gonzalez were the other runners up. But Brian wins the Hungry Hobo food. But also, Brian, what were you thinking?
I love this. Mark looks and sees what happened.
I want to see how he got, because you went 9-7, which is even 11-6. No, it couldn't be 9-7. That'd be
7-9.
Had to be 10-7.
Yeah,
you were 10-7, and I was 8-9. 8-9.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I was 8-9, and I thought, man, no 6-7 there.
He's over there trying.
He's over there.
See,
and he's my good luck charm over there, Carson. But I haven't been under 500 in a long, long time.
Yeah.
But all these games, Brian picked the Jets over the Dolphins.
Stockpile.
He picked the Falcons over the Seahawks, which is crazy.
Yeah.
He picked the Chiefs over the Texans, which you
I
did
did
as
too.
well. But he picked Duke over Virginia, which neither one of us even thought was possible. He picked the Titans over the Browns. When the Titans were one of my automatic, you see them, you pick against them.
Yeah.
He didn't pick the Saints.
Yeah, which most people did.
And that's why I wore the Saints hat, because
won.
Bourbon Street,
They won a game.
they won a game.
Yeah.
They won a game, so I had to celebrate them. I know you wanted me to wear. Didn't you want me to wear a Santa hat?
What was it?
I thought if Texas Tech won, I was giving you a gift.
Yes.
And the gift came through.
And Texas
and you're
Tech
welcome.
won.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to be wearing a Santa.
I'm saving.
I
it.
have one. I'll bring one next week.
See, I'd have to go to Dollar General and get one.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend $10.
We'll do a holiday edition of Ness Guess What, because I got to map it out. I do have to figure it out.
It's Christmas Eve. Are we going to have one on Christmas Eve?
We'll probably do one earlier that week because.
All right. Yeah. Christmas. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to do a show much that
Well,
week.
no,
so
we'll do it
out.
on Tuesday. Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'll be taking some time off, but I think I'll probably do Monday, Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So we'll probably just do a Tuesday.
We can do a Monday.
one.
I have no school on Monday,
We
the
might
22nd.
have to do a live one.
Ooh, we could do
That'd
that.
be fun.
We'll do a live one here at
Yes.
Hungry Hobo.
We could probably do the whole show live from here.
There you go.
Congratulations, Stockpile. I hate it when he's
Stockpile.
right. I hate it
Stockpile.
when he's right, but
He'll let you know.
He will let me know.
I want to know how old he was when he won.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess 14.
I'm going to guess 12. I don't know why, but I remember hearing, it could have been younger than that. But
He was just a
congrats.
kid, yeah. Brian
well
Stockton.
done, all those kind of things. I'm going to hear from this for a while.
This is great.
So
This is
we do
great.
have a lot to get to. No college games this week.
No. Hey, you got to tell me about, Carson's sitting over right there.
Yes.
But you were telling me that I've got another backer.
Yes. So
In the Ness Guess
last
contest.
week with a big announcement, according to to Carson. Sit down. I don't need you yet. So Carson, he did ask me the other day, and this is an honest.
Carson's
question. He
older,
said,
right?
Am I? And Carson's this. Yeah, Carson's this. Chase is the one. That's
Chase,
this,
yeah.
Carson this week asked me. He's like, Dad, am I kind of a celebrity because I'm on the show?
Am I kind of? Yeah, he
no,
is.
kind of about.
No,
it.
yeah, he
are
is.
a
Without that.
celebrity.
And
So
he's my
Team
good luck
Ness,
charm.
Ness,
And he's
and he's involved. So the best now is not just me and him. But if I come back and win this, I get to give you a pie in the face and Carson. But if I lose and you win, then you get to give me a pie, and then he gets to give me a pie. So I'm going to school today, and my fifth grader Chase is like, "Hey, Dad, by the way, I just want to let you know I'm Team Ness as well." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's just like, "Yeah, I think it'd be great to see you get a pie in the face."
I love it. You know
So
what? So
you're
I've got Chase, I've got Carson, Jennifer.
Yeah, she won.
She was Team Ness way back
always
when.
is, yeah.
She's
not Team Ness. She's anti-me. She's anti-Matt. And so yeah, you're taking one. My family will put me one at a time.
One at a time. How many? You got two
I got
more,
two others.
Two more kids. Yeah.
So you can have those two.
Charlie, isn't Charlie the oldest?
Yeah, Charlie.
And that's the one that I was on your show
when he was born.
I was
so
still
I'm
in.
sure
So
he is too.
he should be. He should be.
And Colton will go along with it.
And Colton,
as well.
yeah. So I want all four.
Hey, you know what? It's me against the world, and I like it that way. I like it that way. So I did make up some ground.
Yeah, you did. You're 10
I got
down.
two more, so I'm now 10 down.
You were 14 down 2
weeks
weeks ago.
Yeah.
You went from 14 to 10 real quick.
So
and I see what you're
chipping
doing.
away.
But I see what you're doing.
Uh-oh.
See, this is all Matt Randazzzo. See, first he puts Friday games in there. Never had Friday games before.
Yeah.
And he gets a couple games there. Then, now, we're taping on a Wednesday. We've never taped on a Wednesday before.
It is.
And it's usually Tuesday. So I'm already off my game. I haven't prepared.
Yeah.
I've not even looked at
How are you not prepared? I made it later. I gave you more time to prepare. There's no college this week. And
I got finals
and
next
I had
week.
a very
I got finals
very
next
big-
week.
I had a very big what did we have yesterday? Oh, I had a practice.
You had
I had a
game,
practice, and then I did some
and a game,
Medicom. I did some
Medicom game, yeah.
MC22 games. So we're here, we're ready to rock and roll, and
Let's
we're going to
go.
go right to the NFL.
There's no
we
college.
both got one correct last week in the Bears or the Packers.
Packers,
excuse me.
yes.
Really,
I
good-
was hoping you
really
would go
good
Bears.
Football game.
I was hoping you would
I
go
know.
Bears,
I
and
can't.
you didn't.
Really good football game.
It was a great game.
Yeah, and I think the Bears, for the most part in the second half, especially played well. They go back home this week to take on the Browns.
Yes. And the
I'm
Browns,
surprised the line is only 7.5.
The Browns,
which is a bigger line,
the Browns
but
lost
they lost at
to
home
the
to
Titans.
the Titans.
Yes. One of my students, by the way, went to that Packer game.
What a great game!
Yeah, Miranda Vedvik. with her dad, and it was her first.
And she's a Packers fan?
No, it was her first professional sports game.
Oh, wow.
So shout out to Miranda.
Was she rooting for the Packers?
They had Packer
Okay, that's
gear
what I'm
on.
saying.
They had Packer gear
Yeah.
on. So yeah,
Probably a lot of it from the looks of it. It was cold up there.
yeah. No,
They're saying-
she said she had layers upon layers
I don't
upon
know
layers.
if this matters for these two teams, but I just read it before we started this. Temperatures topping at 10 with wind chills.
Green Bay?
Yeah, no, for Chicago.
Oh, Chicago against Cleveland,
with
yes.
wind chills around a negative 10, negative 15
I got 7.5
degrees.
right now. What did you say it was?
7.5.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
So it's an obvious, like, if the Bears don't win this, shame on you.
Yeah.
I'm going Bears.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bears too, but I'm not so sure about the 7.5 because
Yeah.
Cleveland's played a really good defense.
I don't know why. And Shadir Sanders played good last week.
And he has played well. You know what? If they had him in for the 2-point conversion,
That was so crazy.
that was dumb.
Yes.
What are you thinking? Are you trying to lose? I mean, that's
Which
the only thing
maybe.
I could think of. Like, okay, we need to lose to better because Titans won, Saints won,
Yeah.
Browns move up. So I think the Browns benefit from losing.
Yeah.
And I think the Bears really need to. They have to win because the Packers just went ahead of them,
Yeah.
and the Lions are right there.
It's-
That's a crazy playoff
It's
situation.
wild because in my opinion, and we'll get to the Lions in a second,
Yeah.
and you're going to be surprised with my pick on that. But let's say the Lions lose this week. If the way it's looking is that week 18 game in Chicago is going to be Bears,
Yeah,
Lions and
I
Bears.
was thinking the exact same thing.
They're already. They may as well flex that to Sunday Night Football. They always flex the
They
last
should.
one to flex
And
that.
they should.
And it's got the storylines of Dan Campbell versus Ben Johnson.
Yep.
It's got a playoff spot on the line. All those kind of things.
Yep.
So. With all that being said, I got to take the Bears, but the NFL's so weird. And the Bears have lost one games this year that they probably shouldn't have. You know what I mean? Like, they've had some crazy comebacks and wins.
Yep.
They're almost due for a clunker. I don't think it happens this week. But
especially in I think
this
the cold.
league, nothing shares.
I think they benefit from the cold because their running game is getting so much stronger.
Yep.
So much stronger. And that Caleb Williams can then pass when he needs to and run when they have to. So
I would love to see.
You're gonna go Detroit next?
To see a Browns win. No, I think we're gonna go Packers next.
Okay.
So Packers win. Obviously, they pick up a big one. They're now in first place in the NFC North.
Oh, they play Denver.
And they go to Denver.
Yeah. And Denver is actually an underdog at home,
which is really interesting.
It's
a great coaching matchup. Sean Payton's a great coach. I think Matt Wolford's a really good coach.
Yeah, I am leaning toward Denver, the underdog, because I did just become. I was really against Bo Nix early on. You remember that?
Yeah.
I was no Bo Nix, and now. Like, Bo was doing a lot of the right things. And you know, the teams that win Super Bowls are the teams that have a really strong defense, that's Denver, and have a quarterback that you've probably never heard of. You look back at Super Bowls through the years, and it's always been somebody like a Bo Nix.
Yep.
And so I think Denver could be that team.
Yeah.
And Green Bay they seem to lay an egg when they
Carolina.
absolutely need to win.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go Denver.
Okay.
Give you the chance to pick.
Well, and here's the thing too is
pick my team. So I'm cheering. I'm cheering against my team. I'm a Packer fan.
Here's the thing
somewhat.
with the Packers. It's that letdown game. You know, they go on the road. They just got that big victory at home. Now they got to go on the road to a tough environment against a good coach team. You're going west. It's the mile high air. And everything about this game says Denver. Give me the Packers.
Yeah.
And you know what? If I'm wrong, I will gladly be wrong if it means the Packers are losing a football game.
That's true.
Because
y'all, as a Lions fan, you need the Packers to lose.
Yes, and I don't know.
I see what you're doing now.
I don't know if they can catch them because of the tiebreaker. They beat them twice. But I tell you what, they got that tie in there, which is a weird thing, and they don't have. Then let's say the Packers lose.
Do you want the Bears?
Week it's Bears
Packers
again.
So you don't really care who wins that?
There's a joke I'll tell you off air that I tell my kids when it comes to what I want to happen.
All right, tell me off air. Tell me off air.
But with that being said, I will. I'll go Packers.
Okay.
I will take. And if I'm wrong, oh well.
I'm interested because I figure you have. Okay, so we have 16 NFL games, and you're down 10.
Probably, but it'll only be 15 because we're not going to do the Thursday night game.
15 games, right?
Yeah.
And there's
I think we can sneak in the playoff games in college football
you
here
can't, yes.
in a couple weeks.
Oh, I was looking at that too.
So we'll get those back.
That
in,
might be
which
next. That might be
more
next
games,
week.
More games. More games.
That might be next week. But there's like 4 or 5 double-digit games.
Yeah.
So we're really talking only about like 9. So out of that 9, I figure okay, if you pick like 6 of those. Or maybe 7. Where's Carson at?
Nah, he's locked in.
He's locked in.
Yeah.
I think that's where you have to strategize. Yeah. And Packers is one of those that I'm going to pick the underdog. You pick the favorite, and I'm good with that.
Did I tell you we're about halfway through our NFL? We're going to do 4 NFL games for you.
Okay.
I'm still in my Survivor.
Are you really?
So
my
they
son
have
just
a- they- not
my
a
son just
buyback.
got kicked out
There's
because he had the Browns last week.
So there's a pool which somebody won. I don't know who they are.
Okay.
But won $2,600.
Yeah,
Wow. And like everybody
that.
everybody picked the Browns in the A one and
Yeah.
the Browns, and they picked the
Who did she have?
the Bucks. She had the Bills. Only person with the Bills.
Wow.
So she wins.
So you're still
I
alive
don't even
in
know
a
her, but then they go to
secondary
a
one?
B one.
Okay.
And that one's worth a little decent amount of money too.
Yeah, yeah.
And so there's like 17 people left.
Okay.
And the Randazzos have 2 of them because Charlie's still alive as well.
Oh, nice.
And there's some
I hope
interesting
Charlie
games
wins.
this week.
Charlie wins.
Well, a couple years ago.
Now that he's Team Ness.
Yeah.
He was. No, I gotta sway him. Charlie, I'm cheering for you.
There you go.
I'm cheering for you, Team Ness. Go.
A couple years ago, he was in the same situation. It came down to they went into the playoffs, and the person, it was head to head. We don't know the other person, and they contacted the guy who did the pool and said, "Hey,
wanna
how about
split?
we split it?" And Charlie said no, and they ended up winning the whole thing. And I liked it. He goes, "I'm not here to tie."
If he and you were in it left, I bet he would do the same thing. I want to win.
But his dad paid the money to get in, so we'll talk
No,
about
don't
that.
matter. Okay. So what do you got?
Okay, so
this is-
let's go with.
we have 2 games left.
2 games left I wanted to get to
Okay.
because I think the Bills and Patriots are a fascinating football game.
That is.
It's a really good game. It's in New England.
Yeah.
Bills are 2 games back in the division with 4 to go, but if they win this one,
And it's only a
they're
point and a half.
1 game back.
Point and a half distance.
It's just a really good game.
Yep. You want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Until you
'Cause
beat
you know
the
what I'm
best, until you beat the best. Yeah, but I mean, I do kind of know if you're.
I'm going Patriots.
Okay, well, I'm going Bills.
There you go.
I'm going Bills because
is great.
Until you beat the best.
Yeah.
You're still
I
the
get
best.
that. I get that.
And Josh Allen, and I know that place is going to be fired up, but I'm going to say
Crazy game.
and Drake May's outstanding. But
Yep.
Drake May is going to be Josh Allen someday, but he's not there yet. So I'm going to go with the veteran and say not so fast, my friend. Really good football team, and they've won so many games in a row. I think they've won like 10 games in a row or
Yeah.
something
And
like that.
so is Denver.
Yeah, so it's like kind of
Yep.
teams that are due to lose. So give me the Patriots.
Yeah,
Or
I
give
see.
me the Bills.
I see
Your
what you're.
thoughts?
Well, Drake May is in that Bo Nix realm, so Mahomes not going to be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If the Patriots win, Josh Allen may not even come close to the Super Bowl because they're going to be a distant seed.
Yeah.
They'll still make it.
Yeah, but they'll still have to make their way
they'll
through
have
some-
to make their way on the road.
Oh, yeah.
No Buffalo on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So you got New England, you got Denver, and I'm looking at Jalen Hurts. They're struggling right now, even though they've.
God, was he bad the other day?
He was
4 interceptions, a fumble.
He's been bad.
He's your fantasy football.
He
You're
is.
doing
Well, and
something
that's
else now, aren't
huh?
you? Are you still throwing him out
No,
there?
you know what? I'm throwing him out there because I only got 3 wins.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's okay.
I'm at the stage of fantasy where
You're
I just
the Saints of fantasy football. That's exactly what you are. You're playing for next year.
I did make a defensive change this week just because.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I had the Dolphins and they're playing somebody that. So I switched to somebody that's playing the Saints or the Titans. I don't care who.
Yeah.
But and this week I'm playing. So it's a 12-player league, and I'm 11.
Yeah.
And I'm playing 12.
Okay.
And 12 is favored.
Oh, jeez.
12. That's bad.
Yeah.
How bad? So
Shows
no,
you're
I'm
not really good at all.
Huh?
Yeah.
No. So Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I'm going to get. Who are they playing?
They play. It's going to be my survivor. It might be my survivor. I still have them alive. They play the Raiders in Philadelphia.
Oh, but everybody beats the Raiders. So I gotta, they're.
So I have some choices. I can use them.
Yeah.
I got to look at my little thing real fast because I have.
See, and the Raiders on the road, they're not going to.
I have the Bears if I want to do the Bears.
Bears are good. Yeah.
I have Philly if I want to do Philly.
I would take the Bears against.
I have the Niners if I want to do the Niners against.
Niners
the
against Tennessee.
At
Yes.
home. So I have those 3 that I got to pick from. So what I got to do is I got to look.
You got to look at who you have.
I got to look ahead later and say when can I
that's
use
what my son
somebody
did
else later.
too.
Yep.
He looks at the week 16, 17, and 18,
And
and he mapped it all out.
Yeah.
But he Broncos, Shedeur Sanders, he was just
unbelievable.
That name was used in vain on that.
So hey, go away.
I love that kid.
Okay, so you have. So you're going Bills.
I'm going. I'm going Patriots. Yeah.
Okay. Lions and Rams out in L.A.
Well, I really think the Rams are the best team in the NFC.
I do too.
And if you pick the Lions, more power to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm taking the Rams.
I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, I thought you.
And if
might.
I'm wrong, I'm okay. Like if I'm wrong, give me a pie in the face right now.
But
if it meant if the Packers losing and the Lions winning this week meant that I got a pie in the face, give me 3 pies in the face. Like let's do it right now. Like
Chase, Carson, Jennifer, we can do that. We can do that.
This could be a family affair. But yeah, and I was really, really, really good with Matthew Stafford winning a Super Bowl a few years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want him to win too. I really like him. Was my favorite quarterback for a long, long time.
But there's some other opportunities that I know we're going to just talk about but there's some other games.
I wanted to talk about one more.
Okay.
What about the Chargers and the Chiefs?
That's a good one too. I mean, wow.
And they're back at Arrowhead. They looked awful.
They have
awful.
looked bad.
They looked broken.
They have looked bad for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They really have.
Yeah.
And I was shocked. We talked about the Chargers and the Eagles, and you said I'm taking the Chargers, even though their quarterback. I'm counting on their quarterback. Yeah. He had a cast on his hand.
On his
he even took snaps under center.
Yeah.
And still decimated the Eagles.
And he was running the football.
And he was running the football.
Yeah.
He was their leading rusher.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Chargers at Kansas City.
Okay.
I know that
I might as well die on this
hill. I know your eyes light up.
I might as well die on this hill. If I'm down and you're gonna give me the Chiefs at Arrowhead, then I'll take it.
And there's like, and we talked about
got like already 4 different.
Yeah, I know. We talked about how you could get 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And there really are 5. Now here's what I'm thinking.
But what happens is if we have like 8 different. And even if we did have something like that, I'll win 5 and you'll win 3.
Well, and that's what I'm counting on. I'm counting on. I'm counting on. Okay, if we have 6 different, I'm thinking 3 and 3.
But just 1 week. Give me 1 week where I get if I get like a 6 spot.
I had that week.
I know.
It was a couple weeks ago. I hit I went from 8 to 14.
Yeah.
And that was the week that I really gave me some momentum, and now I kind of but now I feel like I'm too much comfortable. I'm too comfortable, and I've lost 2, and I've lost 2, and now if I lose 4, we're down to 6 with only 3 weeks, and that's only 2 a week.
And we're gonna start adding some college football back into the mix.
We're gonna have it.
I just want to make it entertaining.
We're gonna have it on a Monday instead of a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
And I do have to think about that and then the following week is New Year's
Eve.
That whole thing. So
there's Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve.
We'll figure some things out because we got to get. And I'm gonna do a show maybe a week, maybe a show or 2 a week. But and those are the wins that'll make sure I get the.
And we'll probably have cheese fries sitting in front of me one of these weeks. And
we do have to do it up here one of these times. Maybe if it's if you're off work, maybe we'll do one.
I can do it. There's 2 weeks I can do it live. There's the week of Christmas and the week of New Year's.
We might be doing a whole spread in front of us.
We've talked. Kathleen and I have talked about going on Margaritaville at sea, but the flights are too expensive. Yeah. I'd love to spend Christmas in the ocean.
You live the good life.
I do. Well, and that's.
Would you travel for Christmas?
I would love to travel. No, we'd travel the day after Christmas. Okay, but I would love to travel before Christmas and celebrate Christmas in the ocean.
But
we got kids, grandkids, and it's hard.
We've tried to now. Kids are too busy with sports, but we did for about a 3-4 year stretch. Kind of travel the week between Christmas and New Year's. I used to love the week of Christmas and New Year's just to do nothing. Yeah. I wanted to watch bad football, watch bowl games, and do nothing. And now we're busy.
And then you have that distracting fly.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's on your payroll now or not. It's right there.
It seems like we have one every week. It does.
It's okay, it's right here, and I can't think, and now I'm all jumbled. And
well, we'll get as you're watching this, all the picks will be out there. You have an extra day. You have until Sunday. You have till Sunday at.
I feel like I'm boxing.
It's just Jim Albracht. He's coming back to visit.
Oh, it's Jim visiting. Yeah, hi Jim.
So, with all that being said, we have more time. Sunday at noon.
Oh yeah, we can go Sunday now because there's no Saturday
game. So I figured that's okay.
That'll change next week when there's college games. College games will be on Saturday. Yeah. So there's the 1 week.
Yep.
That you can enter Sunday morning.
Get the picks in
at church. In church.
Stop! Gosh, you're a bad influence on everyone out there. So hey, I want to thank everybody for being part of the Ness Guess. It continues to grow. We love that. Excited about where it's going to go and all those kind of things. Get your picks in, and good luck to you guys at home. Good luck to me. Hopefully I can get this wily old veteran. So we have much more with Off the Air right after this. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves.
Give me the keys. Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzzo here on a busy Thursday in the Quad Cities. It's Cyhawk Thursday coming up tonight in Ames, Iowa. It is the Iowa State Cyclones getting ready to take on the Iowa Hawkeyes. It's a big game in the state of Iowa. Of course, the series started off last night with the women, and it was Iowa State knocking off the Hawkeyes 74-69, the final in that one. Audie Crooks was as good as advertised. She's been that way all year. 30 points, 10 rebounds. She was emotional after the game, as she should be. Actually kind of talked about getting teary-eyed when she made the free throw to seal the game. So a big win for Iowa State. We've talked with Jake Brend and others about the fact that this is one of those games and one of those seasons that Iowa State they need to capitalize on. This is a really good Iowa State basketball team, and this kind of game, with Iowa winning 8 of the last 9 before last night, felt like a game that Iowa State needed maybe a little more than Iowa, and they got the job done. They got it. On Iowa's end, they trailed by as many as 17 in the late third quarter, and to get it back within 3 at one point and have a chance was impressive. It was an impressive night for the Iowa women. They got back in it. Chit Chat Wright, thank goodness she played if you're an Iowa fan, because she was a difference maker once again. Kylie Feuerbach made big shots. Brittany Houston gave some great minutes off the bench. You look at Hannah Stolke, didn't shoot it well, 15 rebounds. And obviously, she was tasked with most of the night trying to guard Audie Crooks, but it wasn't quite enough in the end for the Hawkeyes, and they fell 74-69. So Iowa, some big games still coming up. They have a contest with UConn coming up before they get rocking and rolling into the Big Ten play. So if you're Iowa right now, that's their first loss. I don't think it's a bad loss by any stretch of the imagination. Losing on the road at number 10 Iowa State isn't going to be a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination when it comes to the end of the season and seeding and all those kind of things. When it got to 17, I got a little worried that this isn't exactly what you want if you're a Iowa fan. You didn't want to go there and get blown out. So the fact they came back, made it a good game at the end, is big for Iowa, and congrats to Iowa State for winning that one as well. We were hoping to have Rod Brooks on, some technical difficulties. Not going to allow that to happen, but we're going to take another quick break and then talk more about tonight's game coming up between the Hawkeyes and the Cyclones, and wrap up a bunch more in what's been a busy Thursday in the world of sports. We'll do that. We'll do that right after this. You're watching OTA on a Thursday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be back right after this.
Give me the keys. Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. It's been a fun, busy Thursday here on the show. We started things off with the one and only Scott Dochterman talking about everything when it comes to the world of college football. Obviously, the big news over the last 24 hours, there's a coaching vacancy at Michigan. The Wolverines firing Sharon Moore after an appropriate relationship with the staffer. And then things have gotten even crazier. He was arrested, charges coming, all of those kind of things. So we talked with Scott Dochterman more about what's next when it comes to Michigan football, and maybe not the craziness that's going on right now off the football field, but where do they go? What do they turn to? It's not going to be nearly as fast as what Iowa State did when they, said goodbye to Matt Campbell when he went to Penn State, and then in the same breath welcome Jimmy Rogers. I think it'll take a little more time at Michigan, but he mentioned you got to go big game hunting if you're Michigan. You are Michigan, whether it's the Alabama head coach or Vanderbilt or wherever you're going to go. You have the ability, the NIL, all of those kind of things to get a good football coach in there. And I think you probably got to get away from the Harbaugh ties. I know they won a national championship with him, but everything that's gone on with that program and the maybe the dirty laundry off the field when it comes to assistant coaches and all those kind of things and scandals and everything. But it's one of the biggest jobs in college football when you look at it, and you look at the Big Ten. But you look at the Big Ten right now, Michigan's not a top 3 program in the Big Ten. I know it's 1 year and a small capsule, but you can now say 2 years for Indiana. So right now you got Ohio State and what they're doing, Oregon and what they're doing out there, and obviously Indiana. So it's Michigan maybe after that in the next breath with Penn State and what they're doing, and you go on with USC and the Iowas and Illinois of the world. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But Scott Dochterman at the top of the show talking about that, the craziness of Iowa State, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's funny, we talked to Jake Brend yesterday, and he was talking about what a wild week it was covering that program. Can you imagine what they're doing in Ann Arbor right now? I mean, that's a crazy cover when you're talking about the law and firings and coaching vacancies and players coming and going in today's day of college football. It's got to be wild up there. But anyways, Iowa State now have a new head coach when it comes to football as well, Jimmy Rogers. So we talked with Doc about that. We talked about Iowa Vanderbilt and what that game's like. Doc says it's the best non-playoff bowl game there is. I would agree. I think Vanderbilt's not a Vanderbilt program you're used to by any stretch of the imagination. So it's going to be a great matchup. So we talked with him about that. Kirk Ferentz, the playoffs, everything. Scott Dochterman is as good as he gets. So if you missed that, go check it out. We obviously had our Ness Guess segment as well with Marc Nesseler getting your picks for the NFL coming up this weekend. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. And also we chatted about the legacy that is Jim Albracht. Unfortunately, Jim passing away unexpectedly a couple days ago. So we all miss Jim. We're going to miss Jim. But we want to make sure we celebrate Jim when it comes to everything he's done in the Quad Cities area, in the state of Iowa. I mean, when it comes to the Iowa Hawkeye Radio Network and all of those kind of things, Steamwheeler football. So great to chat a little bit with Ness about Jim Albracht. And then, of course, obviously our Ness Guess contest. Get out there. Make sure you get your picks in. It's going to go a little later this week. Instead of being a Saturday at 11 a.m., you got till Sunday at 11 a.m. because it's just pro only. So go check that out as well. Of course, the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Iowa State Cyclones play tonight at Hilton Coliseum. It opened as an 11.5 point Iowa State favorite. It's now a 12.5 point favorite for Iowa State. Obviously, one of the best teams in the country, playing at home, coming off a huge, impressive victory, a signature of all signature victories when it comes to going on the road and beating number 1 ranked Purdue at Mackey Arena by 23 points. So obviously a ton of great momentum for Iowa State. Iowa playing good basketball. They have one setback this season. It was at Michigan State, a tough place to play. they bounced back nicely, very impressive against Maryland. And we had Keith Murphy on the show yesterday, and Keith kind of talked about we had Keith on on Tuesday. I'm getting my days confused. Jake Brent talked about how Iowa wins this game, and I think he's right. They got to not turn the ball over, and they got to make shots. And if they can do that, they have a chance. If Iowa shoots it the way they shot it against Maryland, they have a chance in this game. It's a tall task, and Iowa State is really, really good. But Ben McCullum, I think, is one of the best X's and O's coaches in the country. So we'll see what he can do if he can game plan Iowa to a victory in a series when it comes to the two schools this year. When it comes to that Cy-Hawk series that's been dominated by Iowa State, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Iowa State dominating in most sports when it comes to beating the Hawkeyes. One of those years, if you will, in the state of Iowa. So we'll see if the men's basketball program can change that a little bit, or if Iowa State. I think Iowa State's like an Elite Eight, Final Four type team. I thought that last year for a while at this point too, and that didn't come to fruition. We'll see how things go this year, but they shoot it so well. I don't think it's a letdown game for Iowa State coming off beat number 1 on the road. I think if they're playing Eastern Iowa or Eastern Illinois, or somebody like that maybe a sleepish, sluggish game tonight, it's this in-state rival. I mean, it's going to be as good as it gets. So I don't see that, but I'm a law of averages type of guy, and they've been shooting it so well. Iowa State has. They're due for a clunker. Is it tonight? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's one of the cupcakes they have before they start Big 12 play. But I'll be interested to see what goes on tonight at Hilton Coliseum. So anyways, we'll talk all about it tomorrow. Tom Kakert will be on the show hopefully tomorrow. He's covering the game for Iowa tonight as well. And we're hoping to take the show on the road. I got some T's to cross, some I's to dot when it comes to everything. So, but hoping to get the show on the road tomorrow. On Fridays, during basketball season, we kind of want to do what we did during football season and take the show to, a stadium, or now in this case, an arena or in a gym for high school basketball, efforting possibly to get to Rock Island. We'll see if it all works out. It's Rocky Moline tomorrow. Which is a great rivalry, always is, always will be. So, and they're celebrating 125 years at Rock Island of basketball at Rocky High School. So, we'll see if we can get there and do all those kind of things. Right, regardless, we're going to have a great show tomorrow when it comes to Off the Air with Matt Randazzzo and everything we've kind of gone through this week as well. This week in recap, Gary Dolphin was on Monday. Tuesday, we had Nicholas Baer and Keith Murphy and others. But those were the two big names that we had on. Yesterday, Kyle Huseman, Jake Brend, and Gavin Stecker, the Bettendorf standout that's now heading to the University of Iowa to play football. And today, Scott Dochterman, Marc Nesseler, a great show today as well. We'll get Rob Brooks back on here. I have no doubt about that. We'll get him back around here. He's traveling a little bit today, which makes life a little difficult on the road to do shows like this. So we completely understand as well. It's a big weekend in the NFL. I'm wearing, and Doc pointed it out earlier in the show, I'm wearing my Lions zip up hoodie. You look outside and it's snowy, more snow's coming. It was one of those mornings that I'm like, I'm not doing local TV anymore. I'm grabbing my hoodie and I'm going upstairs and talking about sports, and that's a beautiful thing. So, big weekend in the NFL. Bears coming off a loss, and they don't do that very often. They haven't lost a lot of games this year. They've been playing good football. They lost the first 2 games of the season, and since then they were 9-10. So they welcome the Browns to town in a game you have to have. It's a game you have to have, and it's also an opponent you should have it against. The Browns losing last week at home to the Titans. I mean, losing this game, if you're the Bears, shame on you. With that being said, it's the NFL. We talked about it a little bit with Ness in the last segment. You never know what happens. It's supposed to be freezing cold at Soldier Field, but I'll explain it this way. I think Ben Johnson learned a lot from Dan Campbell. I think Dan learned a lot from him as well. And one of the signature things with the Lions is they haven't lost 2 straight games in like 3+ years. The last 15 times the Lions have lost a game, they've won the following game. I think it's it goes to show a lot about the culture up there and coaching and preparation and bouncing back and all that kind of stuff. And I see Ben Johnson being similar. Obviously, they lost their first 2 games of the season. But the ironic thing about that is after losing week 1 to the Vikings, they had to go to Detroit, where Detroit was coming off a loss as well. So it was the whole Dan Campbell coming off a loss as well. And that was a 52-21 victory for the mighty Honolulu Blue and Silver Detroit Lions. So ever since then, he hasn't had a chance to have that bounce back game. He did. I'm trying to think of the game they did lose, and the Baltimore game, and they bounced back nicely the next week. So I fully expect Ben Johnson's got a little Dan Campbell in him when it comes to those kind of things, and I think they bounce back nicely and get a victory. And if they don't, that's a bad loss in this division where everybody's crunched together. You look at it, the Packers' schedule's not easy. They go to Denver, then Green Bay. They go to, then Chicago. So they have 2 road games against 2 teams that have 10 victories and 9 victories or something like that. 2 good football teams on the road. They come home for the Ravens. Yes, they're at Lambeau, but the Ravens will be looking to make the postseason. They got a ton of talent. Lamar Jackson hasn't been playing well lately, but he's a MVP candidate, won the MVP before. That's not a layup at home. And then they go to Minnesota at the end of the season. And I know the Vikings are the Vikings, and J.J. McCarthy hasn't been good, but they're at home. I mean, the Lions have them on Christmas. And as a Lions fan, I'm like, geez, that's going to be an interesting one. That's going to be a tough one to kind of deal with. So it's not an easy schedule for any of the 3 teams in the NFC North. The Lions go to L.A. this weekend. I think they lose that football game. I think the Rams are playing better than any team in all of professional football, maybe not named the Patriots. But I still think they're playing better football than New England, and they're beating better teams. And yes, I know they lost to Carolina a week ago. I get that. But they bounced back nicely. And I think offensively and defensively, they're the most complete team in the NFL right now. So I don't expect Detroit to go out there and win a football game. Boy, would I love it. But then they have must-wins coming up the rest of the way. Pittsburgh at home, Vikings on the road, and then that big one with the Bears to end the season. So the NFL is fascinating. The NFC North is fascinating as always. As I mentioned, the Packers go to Denver this week as well. So that's not an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. Although I was surprised to see that Green Bay is favored in that game. So Vegas usually knows. And I took the Packers when it comes to the Ness Guess contest as well. So before we let you go, a reminder, Ness Guess is up and going. Go to my social media, click the link, sign in, win free Hungry Hobo. Brian Stocking won this week. I mean, it's Brian Stocking winning. You're doing something right. So get in there. Don't let Stockpile win again. And get your picks in for that. Hopefully we're on the road tomorrow. Still working that out. Keep looking at my social media. Once I get everything confirmed and stuff, we'll do it. If not, we'll be here in the studio talking a bunch of great sports on a Friday as well. So another show tomorrow and then a busy weekend. And as I mentioned to start the show, Christmas is 2 weeks away. It is 2 weeks away from Christmas. So if you have not got your shopping started, get moving. We've at least started, but we got a lot to do. So, but my wife's amazing and she'll figure it all out like she always does. So, thank you guys for watching today's show. Thank you to our guests, Scott Dochterman, Marc Nesseler, and we'll get Rob Brooks next time. I guarantee you that. And we'll have much more coming up on Off the Air tomorrow. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys then.